One, one, two. Hey guys, what's going on? Megan here. All right, so answering the questions in the comment section. Remember, guys, from now on, the questions come straight from the comment section. All right, this is where I'm gonna go and answer all your questions. All right, so I would like to see your input on fasting and the science of whether it can be catabolic or anabolic to building muscle losing fat. All right, so let me put the timer so I don't go on forever. It's my thing now. I gotta put the timer because guys, I can talk forever. All right, so fasting. I made a lot of videos about fasting in the past, right? It really depends. Just like my answer to almost every question I'm gonna start with, it really depends, right? If your goal is to, if you want to use fasting, you got to know the pros and the cons, right? That's the way I look at everything. Look at the pros, look at the cons, and then see if one side outweighs the others. Obviously, if for you the cons are bigger than the pros, don't do it. If the pros are bigger than the cons, then it's a viable option. So, what are the pros and cons of fasting? I've fasted several times. In fact, before I started carb backloading years ago, I was doing pretty much. It was almost like intermittent fasting, and so I can tell you the pros and cons for me, right? Now for you it might actually be different. The number one thing you want to remember when you're fasting is if you're a person that struggles with with appetite, meaning you can't get enough food at the end of the day, your eating sucks ass. I don't recommend fasting for people like you, right? And that's people like me, for instance. And I'll tell you why. Because people that undereat a lot, that tend to undereat, when you fast, right, and you say, "Oh, I'm just gonna eat most of my meals within like a 4 hour window, whatever." Well, what happens when you first of all you eat and then you get all sleepy and shit? It happens to a lot of people when they fast. They try to fast all day, and around afternoon or evening they start to eat. A lot of them get sleepy, especially if you're insulin resistant in a way. You get sleepy, right? So you start to get all tired and groggy, whatever. Some people go to bed, wake up the next day. That had happened to me several times, where you're like, "Fuck, man, that meal was only like 600 calories, and that's all I ate for that day." Or you kind of like lose the interest to do other, fundamental things. So if you're one of those people that has the appetite problem where you're trying to put on muscle or you're trying to maintain muscle, and you know that you naturally just don't eat enough, right? Stay away from fasting. Just stay away from fasting because trust me, it will be insanely hard for you to hit your maintenance, calories and nutrients and things like that. And long term, yes, that's very fucking important, right? Because it's going to lead to a whole bunch of unwanted side effects. So again, if you're one of those people that has a shitty appetite, I will stay away from fasting, right? You also want to look at the fact that uh, if you have a shitty appetite, your body's already trying as hard as to retain nitrogen, right? So chances are, you have a negative nitrogen balance. So your body's breaking down more protein than it's actually retaining and synthesizing. When you combine that with training and cardio, whatever else you're doing, you amplifying that effect. So your eating becomes even more important. So you don't want to risk it. You don't want to risk waiting all day, or even if you start your fast at like 4 p.m. I mean, even if you break your fast at 4 p.m. or 2 p.m. whatever, you don't want to chance. You actually don't want to risk not getting all your nutrients, all your calories and things like that. And again, that's happened to a lot of people, right? Also, don't forget the fact that if you don't eat enough, not only you're not getting those, the ATP, but you're also not getting the nutrients. You're not getting the vitamins and minerals, which so many of us are deficient in. Like I mean, you're not gonna have time to get your protein, your carbs, your potassium, your zinc, your magnesium. I mean, again, if you have a bad appetite, fasting is not for you. Another thing too is the downside of fasting too is if you fast for a long time, right? I'm gonna get to the benefits. A lot of people already know the benefits, but I'll get to that later. Let's focus on negative for now because I'm a cynic. If you fast for a long time, one thing I noticed, if you fast for a long time and then you stop fasting, you put on fat so much faster. Even if, again, there goes the calories guy, even if you don't overeat during that rebound period, right? Why? Very simple. When you fasting, your body becomes more efficient at using the energy that you're getting during that window, right? Your body becomes a lot more efficient. That's a fact. Put the fuck vent. When you stop the fast, right? Now you're getting all this extra food that your body doesn't at first see it, as like, oh man, I can finally use this for other thing. Your body begins to store it as fat because it's like, hey, I've learned to become efficient, with the amount of food that you normally give me, when you use the fast. Now all this extra stuff, a lot of it is gonna get stored. And then you also gotta remember, um, well, actually that's part of the benefits of fasting. Yeah, I'm not gonna mention that. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of fasting. Uh, let's just stick to the negative. You also gotta remember the fact that your hydrochloric acid, right? There's a lot of studies that show that if you fast for a long time, for some people, glucagon, which is the fasting hormone, right? It's the opposite of insulin, actually impairs your digestive system, right? So you're not getting too much activity done. And meaning when you finally start eating, for some people, again, I'm ready at 5 minutes. A lot of the food does not get digested, right, fully. And yet simply because glucagon turns off, gastric acid for some people. If you're one of those people, again, fasting is terrible for you, right? Because when you finally break your fast, putting all that food in, you're like, yes, I can finally eat. And then it takes a while for your body to try to, like reactivate everything. And then next thing you know, you're risking improper digestion. You end up farting, your poops come out smelling like crazy and shit like that. So again, you want to look at the pros and the cons and see what where you stand on the spectrum. Now, as far as the pros, what are the pros of fasting? Everybody should know this by now, right? Obviously, you have a better, it fixes your hormone profile, right? So if you're insulin resistant, it helps you restore that. It helps rekindle insulin sensitivity. If you, if you have, let's say, leptin, say you leptin resistant, which is almost like insulin resistant, but I made videos about explaining the difference. But it will help you fix your leptin resistance, which is very important. It's one of the most powerful hormones out there. So again, you have the studies that show I don't like talking about the hormonal benefits in terms of testosterone and growth hormone and all these things because again, your body's releasing those anabolic hormones when you're fasting, but people are forgetting your body's doing that to protect your muscle. Your body's not doing that to make you grow. So when you're fasting, your body's increasing your testosterone levels like crazy. It's not really to make you grow, right? It's to prevent protein breakdown, right? So your body's sending that as an anti-catabolic response as opposed to an anabolic response, right? So you gotta be very careful with, so a lot of people that misinterpret the studies. They're like, oh, fasting, shoots your testosterone through the roof. Yes, but you want to be careful with that. Your body's really doing that because it's trying to protect protein breakdown, which is obviously telling you that your body's breaking the shit out of proteins. So that's my take on fasting. There's more. Obviously, there's more pros, to fasting, but most people should know this by now. Just Google benefits of fasting. It's out there. You give your cells a chance to renew themselves. You know, so again, I don't recommend fasting people that have poor appetites, issues with digestion, and nitrogen retention, trying to put on mass and things like that. But if you have a big appetite, by all means, fast because you know that you're gonna get all your nutrients, all your macros during that small window, right? So people that have huge appetites, they could just eat nonstop, and you're trying to get lean, whatever. By all means, fast, right? Another benefit of fasting is for me, I've noticed I was able to go harder in the gym, right? Because for some reason I had more focus when I was fasting. I say for some reason, but we all know why, with the whole neural drive thing. So again, write down the pros, write down the cons, and it's gonna be different for each person. See what pick your poison based on that. All right, guys, I went 3 minutes over, but I try to cover everything. Comment below if you have more questions. Again, this is how I'm gonna make these videos from now on. I'm gonna go through the comment section and then attack Team Duty Alpha.